Start that again. Had the audio levels all wrong. Hello, it is Thursday at 4 p.m. and it is time for another Etch Play weekly live show. That's a mouthful. I'm joined by Dan Thomas this week. Dan, how are you?
Hello, yes, I'm very good, thank you. I'm here to help you get your words out slickly and smoothly, as always.
I need to. I need someone to be here to just pull them out of my mouth. We've got a lot to get through today. All sorts of news has happened this week. In fact, there was a lot of news even before Sony dropped their PS5 shaped bombshells on us yesterday, and we'll get to all that. But yeah, we've also got some stuff coming up later on, just so you know what's going on in the show. We're going to play some of the Touryst later, and everyone's favourite man called Ben Joy is here later to talk about how to build hype for your game, so we'll get to that too as well. But we should start with the news. And there really is only one place to start, isn't there? The PlayStation 5. It's $499 US, which is £449 apparently. And the digital version is $399 US, which is 359 Great British pounds. It's coming on November 12th, or if you live in the UK, like we do, November 19th, which is, in both instances, they're what you might call quite aggressive against the Xbox. But they've matched them on price. They've gone very close to their launch date. Any thoughts about that, Dan? It's been an interesting strategy.
As you know from our little sweepstake we did on Guess the Price, I was way off. I wasn't expecting Sony to come in swinging quite so hard on the price front. I kind of thought they have the loyal fan base. They've got more of the exclusive titles. They arguably won the current gen, so I wasn't expecting them to step up in that regard, but they have. So yeah, that was very interesting. And yeah, I mean the week delay, that just feels like it's a small thing, but it just seems like one of those dated trends in tech that you kind of feel that's done now. Cinema releases and game releases, it's like that's done now. We are one global audience. So that's an interesting one, but I do appreciate the world is perhaps not running at its standard velocity, and there are all sorts of reasons and mechanics. I can't imagine there's many commercial benefits other than just being able to manage the logistics of a staggered release like that. But
I actually wonder whether they wanted it to be 19th everywhere, and then they've just brought forward all the ones they can to be even closer to the Xbox launch potentially.
Could be.
Aside from the price and the release date, there was all sorts of games shown, mostly ones we knew about. So there was Spider-Man Miles Morales, there was Deathloop, which has been delayed to Q2 2021, now confirmed, Demon's Souls, Black Ops Cold War, Resident Evil 8, etc. Also a couple of new game announcements, games that we probably knew these were coming, but they technically count as world premieres. So there was Final Fantasy 16 was unveiled.
Yes.
To the joy of Final Fantasy fans everywhere, I imagine.
And there's some excitement there with Yoshi P returning to the franchise.
Creative Business Unit 3, the third business unit. Very talented people, obviously really exciting. And also the Harry Potter game, Hogwarts Legacy. This is a game, I think this game got leaked, or not the whole game, but footage of this game got leaked like 2 years ago. Yeah. And they've been sat on it ever since, and finally unveiled it. It's set in the late 1800s. You get to play as a wizard, run around Hogwarts, do some spells. I think that's something people are still interested in doing, clearly.
I'd be really interested to see any sort of stats on the Harry Potter demographics. Is that are the youngest gamers invested in that franchise? Is it kind of take with the growing, I guess, millennial audience that grew up with it? Are they clinging on to it, and are they still? Also, we talk a lot about aging gamers. Are they bringing gaming with them? It'd be so interesting to see how that does. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy surrounding the Harry Potter world as well. So it feels like maybe. It looked like a great game, and anybody who's highly invested in that world, I'm sure it will tick a lot of boxes. But it does feel like maybe a couple of years ago would have been a better time.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think you'll get to pick which house you're in Hogwarts, or will the game pick for you based on your actions?
Yeah, I seem to remember there's been. I'm not a Harry Potter expert, I must admit.
You
It's
don't know
not.
your Gryffindors from your Slytherins?
No, I couldn't tell you what house I was. But yeah, I do recall they've had varying sort of digital initiatives and campaigns that tell you answer questions, or you find your house, find your Patronus charm. So I do wonder if they're going to sort of recycle any of those kind of approaches, or it's just more about the story and the gameplay, and those kind of novelties that have already been done, and here's something new.
Yeah. I do happen to know that, according to the website anyway, I am a Hufflepuff and my Patronus is a hedgehog, which I'm not happy about. I found that out like a year ago and I'm still mad about it. Also announced the PlayStation Plus collection. So this is interesting. This is a selection of PlayStation 4 games, including God of War, Bloodborne, Final Fantasy... can't figure out the Roman numerals. What's that? Final Fantasy 15, Mortal Kombat 10, Until Dawn, all sorts of games. Available to PlayStation Plus users for free on PlayStation 5. I guess what we don't know yet, is this the start of Sony's answer to Game Pass, or is this a one-off, token gesture to kind of backwards compatibility, like kind of style thing?
I think this is potentially, as you say, kind of a nod towards, okay, Sony have taken notice. Game Pass is clearly doing well. It's clearly getting a lot of attention, a lot of love from Microsoft, and PlayStation haven't given PS Plus much love over the past couple of years. This is complete speculation on my part. I'm completely uninformed and a wild guess. I have noticed there looks like there's going to be a step up in terms of retail pricing for new PS5 games.
Yeah,
we're pushing 60 quid a game, maybe more. So I'm wondering if, as a economic pricing strategy, you push the perceived value of a game up, but you make your subscription service more desirable. You're encouraging people move in that direction. So maybe that's a consideration or part of the strategy. But it's good to see PS Plus getting some much deserved boosts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that these are mostly games that big PlayStation fans will have played before, but I do think that it's a really interesting step, and be fascinating to see if they just move on and forget about this, or whether they keep adding games to it every month, or how that ends up working. Speaking of popular PlayStation games, the end of the conference ended with a God of War tease. God of War Ragnarok is a thing; it's real.
Yes.
All we've really seen is a logo, so there's not much to speculate on. But we're going to speculate anyway.
Yeah, it was good enough for me. I'm a huge God of War fan, and I don't think anybody is shocked to see that. But it's nice to see it manifest, and I think there's a lot, and we don't know whether God of War is going to be PS5 only, but there is definitely a gap of these kind of big exclusive titles exclusively just for the PlayStation 5. And there's other than, they've done a great job of the hype, it's a great announce, but when you actually break it down to what do I get if I buy a PS5 that I don't get on my PS4 or on my PC or on other platforms, the list becomes a very small list. So but I was excited to see that.
Yeah, no, I was too. Do you think? What I'm curious about is, so Spider-Man Miles Morales, it's kind of a sequel, but it's also kind of, they're using a lot of the assets from the first game, they're reusing stuff. Do you think God of War Ragnarok takes place in that same lake area, or do you think there's a whole new environment, a whole new story, whole new thing?
An environment is only one, I guess, obviously a very significant one, but it's only one aspect you can, and that's, I guess, why we do see a lot of sequels in games, because once you've got a formula and you've had success with it, it's almost like, well, we've done so much good work here, and we've still got so much value left in these mechanics, these weapons, this process, this tone of voice, all those different things. So it's whether they'd use the same environment. I'd like to see that to be something that they switch up a bit. New environment, new character, sort of new storyline, new characters. But
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to have more of the same.
And you mentioned that some of the games that we've heard about and talked about are now coming to PlayStation 4, which is kind of at odds with what Sony have said previously. They, made a big deal about generational leap that the PlayStation 5 was, and then after this press conference, there was a bunch of press releases, which we'll go through a few of them. But one of them is that Miles Morales, Sackboy, Big Adventure, and Horizon Forbidden West are all also coming to PlayStation 4, which I think was a surprise to most people. Like, no one really expected that to happen, but it's good for consumers who have a PlayStation 4.
It's an interesting trend because we're seeing a lot of that on Xbox as well, and perhaps kind of the last generation was a step more towards a more PC-esque set of hardware, and I guess this is another nod towards the step that the development process is becoming less about this specific hardware, and you can get the different flavors with the enhanced. You just download the extra, get those few extra pixels if you've got the PS5 version, and which, like I say, it's very good for consumers. Allows them to capitalize on their existing audience without relying on everybody flooding to the new console. We've known for a long time kind of hardware unit sales are not the make or break of a platform success. It is about the software. So I guess it makes sense. And if the development processes are now more aligned across generations, then it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Speaking of post-conference press releases, I still baffle that they didn't announce this during the conference, but Spider-Man Miles Morales and Demon's Souls are both launch titles, which we didn't know before, and they didn't find time to say during the showcase, which is pretty important news.
I think I don't know. I think production and communications are the things that have been hit by the whole pandemic situation. Everybody's so focused on making these titles, obviously the fact that we have to communicate them and deliver them by dates and handle logistics and shipping and campaigns, really feels like that's been where the cracks have started to show. I think one of the titles, one of the PlayStation exclusive titles, had a bit of a faux pas with one of the end screens saying also available for PC that they've backtracked on.
So this was Demon's Souls as well. They had to release another statement after that to say, by the way, we got that wrong. Demon's Souls is not coming to PC or other consoles, at least as far as anyone knows yet. Who knows what can happen in the future. It is considered a PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Yeah. There we go. So you wouldn't read anything into the fact that their announce trailer stated counter to that. It's been. It was. I think it was a very good showing, but certainly a few hiccups and blips in getting to this point. And like I say, kind of the prioritization of announcements and official announcements versus media reveals it's been very hard to track. I think it's fair to say.
Well, your best bet to keep on top of it is right here on the Etch Play Weekly Live Show, because we're going to run it down for you. After all of that, something else they just forgot to mention was any kind of date for pre-orders. And when asked, they suggested it would be tomorrow, as of yesterday, so it would have been today. And then about half an hour later, pre-orders just went live by surprise. Some people managed to grab one straight away. I know that in the UK things have been a little bit more staggered, that some retailers have done them today, some did them last night at midnight. But yeah, it's just real all over the place in terms of where you can get pre-orders from.
Yeah, I've seen a tweet going around sort of quoting one of the previous shows or events, and one of the Sony execs sort of saying, "Oh, no doubt we'll give our audience plenty of notice." It's like, yeah, that's not what I'd consider plenty of notice. But to be honest, that's I do think that is that's better for the consumer. Oh, you want this? It's available now. Yeah. Go and figure it out. An interesting thing I've noticed, and maybe this is just my lack of high street awareness. I'm seeing, is it Smith's Toys was one of the retailers? They seem to be significant on the Xbox side of things as well. It's not a brand I'm overly familiar with, but they seem to be.
Yeah, I think they seem to have done some deals. They're part of the Xbox All Access program on the Xbox side, one of only 2 retailers in the UK to do it. So yeah, they're obviously keen to sell a lot of these consoles this year. And by all accounts, these pre-orders are flying off shelves. If you're in the UK and you didn't get one today yet, some people on Twitter are saying Argos might be your best bet. I also think you might luck out with Very. None of that stuff that I can really comment on. Just keep refreshing every website that sells electronics, and it will probably be on one of them at some point this week.
I mean, what we can conclude is clearly all of this process has worked.
I mean, it's definitely, from a hype perspective, people are excited about it. I think both consoles will probably sell out from a pre-order perspective, probably almost artificially, like deliberately.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mayhem, absolute mayhem. Congratulations if you managed to secure a PlayStation 5. I know at least one person in our company has managed to do so.
Well done, Miles. He was also the winner of the sweepstakes.
Yeah, Miles Brooms correctly predicted the price and bagged himself a pre-order.
I mean, he is our representative PlayStation. I mean, he's really on board, isn't he?
Yeah.
Good.
He's also
well done.
One of those Final Fantasy stands. Okay, let's talk about something that's not Sony for a few minutes. Maybe go back to Sony at the end. Ubisoft also had a press conference, which frankly pales in comparison, but let's talk about it anyway. There's a few interesting tidbits from that. Ubisoft Forward, it was called. We saw a few things that are of interest. Gods and Monsters, which is the kind of Breath of the Wild-esque game, you would say. I mean, charitably, you would say it's inspired by Breath of the Wild. Uncharitably, you'd say they've copied Breath of the Wild. But it's had a name change, and this is, amusingly, to me anyway, due to a legal dispute with Monster Energy drinks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Monster Energy are not happy with the word monster being in the title of this game. So they've changed it to, I mean, no offense Ubisoft, this is one of the worst video game names I've ever heard in my entire life. It's now called Immortals Phoenix Rising, but Phoenix is spelled F-E-N-Y-X. I mean, the game looks good. The game does look good, but that's obviously not the preferred name.
That Monster Energy tiff is an interesting. I mean, I know they are. They're a non-endemic brand. They aren't games, but I know they've been supporting a lot of streamers and esports athletes and all these kinds of things. So they're obviously making inroads into the sector.
Mm-hmm.
But to then start, perhaps, I mean, the word monster is not an uncommon word to use in the gaming landscape.
It's not. Yeah, really interesting that they've taken that step. And they did that stuff with Death Stranding. They had like a partnership with Death Stranding, so Monster was in the game. I think also, I did look into this, I was curious, can you collect energy in the game? So do you have the monster and the energy? And there's an energy concept in the game, like collecting this blue energy. So maybe that pushes it over the line. Elsewhere, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is getting a remaster. You excited about that? Are you a Prince of Persia fan?
I'm a retro Prince of Persia fan. I've not experienced much of the more recent titles, but I absolutely love the original. Spent a lot of time playing that. I've got a strong affinity with the brand, so it's always good to hear them doing stuff. I should check out a more recent game, so maybe I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, maybe that's one for you. The makers of Steep are releasing Riders Republic, which is a 50-player extreme sports game, which, I mean, the trailer is mind-boggling. I don't know how any of the rules work. Doesn't seem like someone with a jetpack should be able to race against someone on a regular bike, but apparently you can.
Yeah, well, I'm a keen fan of extreme sports. Not quite gnarly enough to overly participate or impress in the real world. So, yeah, always a big fan of. Steep was a very, very good game actually. Quite underrated, I felt. I think it did reasonably well. But, yeah, Steep was a great kind of snow sports game, and this sounds like another kind of step into that arena, which is always good to see. Hope they do it well.
Looks like it could be fun. And lastly, from the Ubisoft front, actually there's some more we might talk about in a second, but Stormzy, popular London rapper, is going to be in Watch Dogs Legion. He's done his music video in the game, and also there's going to be at least one bonus mission based around Stormzy.
Very cool.
So yeah, if you're interested in Watch Dogs Legion or you like Stormzy, check out that trailer. Elsewhere, not content with being left on the sidelines, VR is back with the Oculus Quest 2. It's an updated version of the Oculus Quest. It costs $299, which is an incredibly cheap price for any kind of VR headset. Comes out on October the 13th. We also got a look at some games, teasers of games really. Ubisoft is making Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed experiences for it, continuing to prove that they will do everything with the Splinter Cell franchise except make a new Splinter Cell. And Respawn, this is the exciting bit, Respawn's Medal of Honor VR, which we knew was in the works, is officially announced for December 11th, and it's also coming to Steam VR. Previously we thought that was an exclusive, so that's really exciting. That has the potential to be almost in that kind of like Half-Life Alyx tier of like, top tier VR experiences that are worth checking out. Did you watch any of that?
I didn't. I kind of watched some of the noise surrounding it and the reactions. Seeing as we were discussing before the show, seems to have had a mixed reaction. We've seen some people really, really excited, some people less than impressed. I think VR. We've had the you picture all of the technology adoption charts and mainstream popularity charts. VR has got to be pushing its limits now. It's still hanging in there, and it's great to see. I mean, the original Quest, is a great bit of kit that really helped make VR experiences more approachable, slightly more affordable, and this is another step towards that, which is great. And it's good to see this high quality content penned for it as well. I'd love to see it do well. I think that the idea of being able to get a premium VR experience without the need for a VR rig, hefty PC, £2,000 worth of hardware attached to it is very desirable. And I think some of the experiences that have been enabled by the Quest and sort of untethered VR are really, really good. I just hope they can continue that trend of more consumer-friendly pricing, and I hope they get the adoption that they want. I mean, it's Oculus obviously owned by Facebook. They can afford it, so hopefully they'll keep pushing it. I'd really like to see that be a success.
Yeah. Elsewhere, the rumour mill has been active, and apparently sources confirm that we're getting a Super Mario movie, an animated movie about Mario, in 2022. Shigeru Miyamoto is involved as kind of an overseer and producer, I think. Which is obviously a good sign. It's being made by Illumination. If you don't know about the movie industry, they're the guys who made Minions, so they got some pedigree in the animation world. And yeah, there's going to be a Mario movie.
I had not seen that news. That's cool, and having Miyamoto involved is very encouraging. Illumination, obviously, everybody knows Minions, love them or hate them.
Yeah, they're all over.
So the ingredients there is very promising. Yeah.
And also in the realm of Nintendo, this happened just before we went live today. Nintendo had a little mini direct, and that's a few things. Probably the most interesting of those is that Ori and the Will of the Wisps, previously a Xbox and PC exclusive, is out on Switch today. Kind of in line with the moves Microsoft made with Minecraft Dungeons, making their games available on other platforms, specifically the Switch in this case. And yeah, I mean that's a good game.
That's really interesting. Really good to see. That's such a good game reaching a new platform. And as I said, it's kind of interesting that this is an idea Xbox title. So this is a Microsoft published game. Previously was an Xbox exclusive. Made it to PC. I think we actually covered it in one of our previous videos. You should go and check out. But yeah, it's good to see that transition to Switch. And as we discussed on the other video as well, Moon Studios, the developer behind it, they've recently signed with a new publisher. So yeah, it'd be a good kind of way for them to keep some presence in the meantime before their new title reaches us.
Yep, you can find that video on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/etchplay. Last thing on the news then before we move on, do you want a PlayStation 5, and if so, disc or digital?
Do I want one? Yes. If anybody would like to send one in, happily take that. And I don't mind whether it's disc or digital. I'll be honest, I'm a fan of digital downloads purely because I'm lazy and I decide I want something and I want it now. So I like to be able to just click that button and get it. I do appreciate that's a less than frugal mindset when you can buy second-hand discs and borrow and share as we have done. But
Especially, sorry, I was just going to say, especially with the price of games going up, like the £90 difference doesn't look like so much if you can borrow one £70 game from somebody. You've kind of made up the difference already, haven't you?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that does make it more of a consideration. I think at the moment I'm certainly not hammering refresh on a pre-order page. As we said, kind of most of the titles going to be available. I've not long had a PS4, and the fact that most of the titles are still going to be available there. I have a decent PC. The Xbox offering is also quite appealing with the Game Pass Ultimate subscription deal. So I'm totally bought into the hype. I enjoyed their showing, and I do want a PS5, but it's not something that I'm going to be worrying about this side of 2021. I don't think. We'll see how. As soon as they maybe when they drop God of War 2 or one of those exclusives might be the straw to break the actually say.
Yeah, exactly.
How about yourself?
I like the look of the digital one. I think the bulge on the disk drive version is ugly. So purely from a visual perspective, I feel like the digital one would make more sense. But I just know that I'd buy the digital one and then sort of like, oh, you want to borrow my copy of this? I'd be like, oh, I can't. Or I'd see a great sale on a physical copy that I couldn't take advantage of, and it would just destroy me. I think I'm in a similar boat. I've not been looking at the pre-order screens this morning. I was kind of surprised actually not to see any. There's no direct comparison or competitive monthly subscription service in terms of like all access. Because to me, I mean, I'm not gonna drop 450 quid on either of these things this year. But maybe with Xbox, I could be tempted to drop £28 this year.
I mean, the subscription pricing, getting an Xbox included in that bundle is very appealing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just makes it a lot more manageable as well. Like, it's a lot of change to drop on a machine. I also think the PlayStation has a bunch. I mean, the pricing is very good. Don't get me wrong, but there's also a lot of maybe extra costs that you're not thinking about when you buy the console originally, like the controller situation, like having to buy new controllers, as many as you're going to use. Whereas if you already have an Xbox, all that stuff carries over, and you can get Xbox One controllers for cheaper than you can get new controllers. Like all that kind of stuff adds up, doesn't it?
So do we know PS4 controllers don't work with the PS5? Is that
PS4 controllers will only work on the PlayStation 5 with PS4 games. So
okay.
PlayStation 5 games will not work with a PlayStation 4 controller, which, I mean, a lot of these games are also going to come to PC, which has a keyboard or any controller you want, so it feels like a very arbitrary distinction. But at least their justification is that there are extra features on the PlayStation 5 controller that they want people to take advantage of.
Do you see sort of the evolution of consoles nearing that point? Like, kind of like with mobile phones, they've become just more and more of the same. Whereas, you go back 10 years, the next mobile phone was a game changer. This feature was a game changer. This feature was a game changer. And now I kind of feel like we've reached that similar plateau with games consoles and gaming generally. That you're still going to get brands experimenting with these innovations like the PS5 controller, but that's not as significant perhaps as in previous generations.
Yeah, I think to break through, it would just have to be such a good innovation that everyone adopts it straight away. I think what will happen with this PlayStation 5 controller, so one example is the triggers on the PlayStation 5. They've talked about how if the gun jams in a game, they can actually jam the trigger from being pressed. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, but also, like I say, if this game's coming to PC and Xbox, they can't even do that there. Are they gonna bother doing it? Or will they just be like, this just works like every other shooter we've made before? So yeah, interesting. I think some of the audio stuff probably carries through. not something that the mass market really feels unless you've got like a Dolby Atmos system or you've got Sony's special new headphones. So yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely a sense of diminishing returns in terms of the generational. Every generation feels more similar to the previous generation than the one before it. Right, we've done half an hour of news, which is more than we've ever done before. So let's throw to the pre-recorded segment. Earlier I checked out the Touryst, and I'm going to show you that right now. But stick around, because after the Touryst, Ben Joy is going to be here talking about how to build hype for your video game. If you're a game maker or you work in games and you want to think about how to build hype for your products, that's going to be the segment for you. But yeah, this is the Touryst, and we'll see you very shortly. Hey, Adam here, and I am playing the Touryst. This is available on Switch and on Game Pass for PC at least. Take your time, relax and enjoy this island. Let's do that. This is a fun little kind of adventure game. See, it's got kind of like a blocky style, which is very popular at the minute. But it's really well drawn. Like it's the texture quality is really high on everything. It's nice and bright and sunny. What have we got here? Tower monument. Nice big tower. And yeah, you explore. You collect coins. I can see a coin. Free climber. Okay. I think that means we've got to free climb. It's over here. Tower Key Monument. One in one corner and one in the top left and two in the bottom right. I have a feeling that's going to be important later, so let's try and remember that. Can I reach that coin? No, I can't. Let's have a look in the shop. Take pictures. Free climbing. So, we need that. We need a coin. Let's see if we can get a coin. Oh, there's one up there. Oh, not quite. Oh, okay. Boom. Give me the book. Jump, touch a ledge, automatically hold on. That sounds simple enough. Let's test it on this rock. Ah. There we go. Guess that means we can climb this thing now. Not from there, you can't. Okay. Oh man. Now I wish I'd remembered what was going on over there. I can't see it from here. It was one in the top left. Oh, that's not what I wanted. One in the top left. Oh, one. No. Is that not it? Oh man. I could have sworn it was this one, and that one. Is the indent important? Let's go and have a look. This is the very beginning of the game. I'm not going to play too much, just wanted to check it out. So I've heard it is cool. Yeah, see, okay, maybe it's the inverse then. Maybe I've got to do everything apart from the top left and the bottom two. Let's try that. Everything apart from lots of coins. So the game's kind of about finding these monuments and figuring out your way inside the monument, solving some basic puzzles. Ooh. Got a snake and some red lights. Okay, we just turn all these things blue. Last one. Okay, does it open? Okay, I can grab its head. I bet the light works the same way here, so let's see if we can... Ah! It's gonna open. There we go. An old man. Jump on the glowing pedestal. Old man says jump, I say hi, how high? Why beefer? Why pizza? It's like Ibiza, but better. Any of these do anything? No. Well, there you go. Tower 1 complete. Let's go and check out Ibiza, or Ibiza, sorry. Guessing I go there by boat. Okay. Welcome to welcome to Ibiza. Have a good time. This is the monument. Hello. Oh. Something cool and fruity to drink. Okay. Let's explore the island, see what we can find, shall we? There's coins on the beach. I have no way of collecting them, it doesn't look like. Ooh. Can pull things from the ground. This is my melon now. What's going on here? Welcome to the party. Oh, I can dance. Sorry pal, no time to talk. I need to get the party to the max. Okay, how would we do that? Everyone seems pretty disinterested. Okay. I see what's going on here. Is that going to be enough? No, nowhere near enough. Must be some more bits. Sweet smoke machine. It's back here. Generator. plug in the speakers. Is there another one? Ah. Where is it? Oh, come on. I'm standing right on it. There we go. Hey. It's the real Ibiza experience right there. Okay. Little side quest. Smoothie. We need this. Out of smoothies. Why am I not surprised? One strawberry and two... Oh, melons. I got melon. Can see a strawberry there as well. Strawberry acquired. Now, if I was a melon, where would I be hiding? Maybe over here. Aha! Gotcha. Oh, there's another strawberry here as well. Ah, sweet. Ah, missed. I want the coin. I'm rich. Smoothie acquired. Okay. I'm not going to play too much more because I don't want to spoil a lot of the solutions to these puzzles, but let's get inside that monument and then I'll call it. Oh, what's the phone do? Okay. Thanks for the smoothie. You're welcome, Dave. Aha. Okay. Got a puzzle here. 4 boxes and 4 pillars. And a little yellow thing. I don't know what that does. Is that a plane landing pad? Well, the pillars have... those have 2. 1... okay. Can I pick things up? Yes, I can. I think we want 2 in that one. None in that one. 2 in this one. It's slightly difficult to actually grab those things out of the ground. That's close enough. We've got 2, 2, empty, and 1 should be the last one, if I've got this correct. I need to find a stone I can grab. There we go. This is the Touryst. It's available on Game Pass, like I say, and also available for Switch. Seems like it would be great fun on the Switch, actually, to have on the go. Definitely worth checking out. I've been Adam Burt, and yeah, I'm going to throw it back to the live show. And we are back. You are watching the Etch Play weekly live show, episode 3. Yep, we got a third show. We're still going. I'm now joined by Ben Joy. Ben, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Adam. I'm good, although I do have a bone to pick with you just before we get started.
Okay, I knew this was going to happen. You're mad because
Yeah.
I didn't tell people at home that you correctly predicted the price of the PlayStation 5. Is that correct?
That's correct. You gave Miles all the praise. This guy also got it right.
Okay, let it be known that Ben Joy, having seen Miles's correct answer, copied him and was able to also get the correct answer.
I mean, I was already 50% right after last week, so...
Yeah. We're
Anyway.
We're not here to talk about
No.
PlayStation anymore. They've had their segment. Had like 50 minutes of the show. We're here to talk about marketing. Really, this is the grand finale of the show. You know, we start with news, give you a little bit of gameplay, and then Ben Joy hits you with the fresh insight from the top of the dome. So let's talk about it. Today we're talking about building hype for your game. And you've been doing some research, so this is for all the folks at home who maybe have a game or work in games marketing, or because I think everyone knows nowadays the market's so competitive that making a good game is not enough. You can't just have a good game. You have to also really plan and effectively execute a marketing strategy. So, yeah, building hype is a critical part of that. Take us through it. How do people build hype for games?
Yeah, it's absolutely right. As you say, it's as competitive as ever. There are more games coming out every day, every week, every month. Year on year, the number of games coming out is huge. If you sign up to like the ICO newsletter, you'll see all the ones that come out on Steam every week. It's huge. So, yeah, obviously building hype is a big thing, and it doesn't necessarily have to just be the huge games that are able to build hype. And really, the size of the game or the studio that you are will have a direct impact on the level of hype you can build, but also the methods that you could use to build hype. So, for example, if you're a huge game with tons of money, and you're getting picked up by the big publishers, you're getting picked up by the platforms, then you can drop an E3 trailer and your hype is huge because you're in front of so many eyeballs, and everyone then knows your game is coming and has a lot of information to start talking about it immediately when there's a huge community already around and watching. Whereas on the flip side, if you're a much smaller game and you're not going to get that E3 trailer, that E3 spotlight, you need to think a little bit differently. And there's so many different ways that you can go about building hype and getting noticed. So I'm going to more focus on, I guess, what would be good for smaller studios, smaller games, and your Call of Duty and stuff. Because I don't want to say it's easy, but it is. It's much easier for your Call of Duties to get a lot of people's attention very quickly with not doing an awful lot. It doesn't mean they don't do cool things because they do. So for smaller
Activision
games,
got it covered.
Yeah, they've got a pretty big following, so that's nice and easy for them. So one of the ways I wanted to talk about initially is what you can do on Discord. So Discord is a great platform for gaming. It's well known within gaming, and there's some really cool stuff that you can do on there. And really, what it boils down to is building a strong community and essentially giving your fans the information firsthand and in somewhat of an exclusive club, and let them really be your evangelists to build that hype. And a game that did that very well was Descenders, was being published by No More Robots. They had a very strong Discord strategy that they took with that. So if you don't know the game, check it out. It's a downhill mountain dirt biking game, and essentially in the game you have three teams that you can join, and they essentially replicated that within Discord. So when they had people coming into Discord, you would immediately drop in, and you would have limited access to some of the channels, but there was a channel for like picking your team, and then you would type in like hashtag and then one of the team names, and you would be assigned to that team, which would then open up a bunch of more channels in the Discord that everyone had access to, and then specific ones for your team. And then weekly there were challenges, so they kind of built like a meta game around Discord, which gets people excited. They're dropping things about the game, and it's building up kind of I'm this team, and you're getting an affinity with the team and learning all about them before the game even comes. And then obviously with the challenges, you're able to then go out and get more people to try and join your team, and then the hype and the excitement and the awareness of your game spreads pretty much organically from your users, because you've given them kind of the tools to be able to do that. Another game that did pretty well on Discord as well is Spellbreak, which I think came out pretty recently. And again, they set up a bunch of channels, and they were kind of just feeding information to the Discord kind of privately, and they had NDAs within the Discord, so it really felt like an exclusive club, and then you were rewarded for bringing people in, and it really starts to build awareness that way.
We should mention for anyone who doesn't know, Discord is it's a chat platform. You can join various chat rooms, basically organised around a central theme. So yeah, really powerful way to build communities. You mentioned Spellbreak. They're really that's only just launched recently. Battle Royale with magic spells. They've done a lot of interesting marketing work, haven't they? I think they did some stuff. Is it Reddit they did this on?
Yeah. So actually, like obviously talking about Discord, you obviously need to get people in, and getting the initial awareness is the hardest part sometimes. Obviously, the Discord works really well once you've got the people in, start building from there. But what Spellbreak actually did was, you're absolutely right, they did use Reddit, but what they also did, which was not something I'd ever really given that much consideration to, is they actually they used Imgur.
Let's go with Imgur. That sounds right.
You told me off last week for a mispronunciation, so I thought I'd better check this week. So we're going with Imgur.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they did is they essentially they were a small studio. They were an IP that people didn't know, and it's like, well, how do we get people to know about us and know our game? And what they did was they threw their dev blog upon Imgur, and from that they started driving people to sign up for emails so that they could contact them, and they went and got hundreds of thousands of views, and they started getting contact details from people, and were able to start building the community that way, because they knew if we try and use Facebook and we try and use Twitter, that wasn't going to be effective for them, because their social accounts had in the tens, maybe the hundreds of followers, because they were not well known. But they did some research and was like, well, if we throw up this information on Imgur, it's going to be much more accessible to people. People are going to be able to kind of find it when they're not looking for it, and it can grow from there. And that was really, really successful for them, and that was kind of how they built their following, dropping GIFs and memes, which is something you know all about from the marketing. I'm usually plugging my blog post, but I'm going to plug
you're going to plug one of my blog posts.
I'm going to plug Adam this week.
Talk about my blog post at length.
Yeah, he posted a few months ago a really, really good blog post on the power of being able to market your video games with memes and GIFs. So that's definitely well worth a read. I'm sure a link will be posted in the chat somewhere, so check that out after you've watched this video. Don't go now. But they really utilised that, and it was interesting. I was reading an interview with someone from over there from the studio, and they were saying about they created this meme channel, and then they were like, oh, why did we do that? What was the point of that? And then from there, like, the community just picked it up and ran with it, and it was encouraging people to want to get access to the alpha and the beta, so that they could get the game and they could start creating these memes and understanding it, and that was really powerful for them, and they did really, really well out of that. I mean, Imgur is an inspired choice. I have to admit that's not something that would have immediately popped into my head. It will now that I've seen how well that's worked for them. But they talk about using the channels that are going to give them the most uplift. It's easy to run to Twitter and it's easy to run to Facebook, because people are there, but if the people aren't there for you, it is very hard to get in front of them. Whereas they went outside of the box and went to the people and let them find them, and similar on Reddit. So they were trying to utilize channels where they, I don't necessarily like this word, but it's relevant, like to go viral, and have a chance. So and it worked. So fair play to them.
Now, whenever you come on the show to talk about a segment, we have notes beforehand to make sure that we know roughly what we're going to talk about. And you wrote the notes for me today on what you want to talk about. And the next point you have on your list is the word leaks in quote marks.
Leaks.
Are you about to go deep state conspiracy theory on us? You think all leaks are fake?
Not all leaks are fake. Some leaks are completely accidental, for sure, and I'm sure people feel terrible about them. When you're working with very secretive information, it is incredibly scary to think that you might be a leak, and it's very stressful. So it happens. Leaks happen for real, but also I think we both know, without being naive, that leaks happen on purpose sometimes. That's why I branded it leaks. The one that I was actually thinking about is the BioShock one. I don't know whether you've seen this. So I think it was back in either March or May time. Someone stumbled across the website. There's always a lighthouse.com, and I mean, you're not going to stumble across that. Who is just going to find that? That's, for me, call me a conspiracy theorist. That's come out of the publishers, come out of the studio, and it's a tip-off to someone, maybe a tip-off to a journalist, maybe it's, someone has purposely done it from the studio, and obviously under direction. I don't think someone's gone rogue and done it. And that all that is, if you haven't seen it, it is a one-page website with kind of like a dark screen and a shining light in the middle, and that's it. That's all it is. And the meta description, if you Google it, is "stay tuned." So I immediately, with such little effort, they've been able to build up a lot of hype for a new BioShock game. But I think, again, that comes back to what I was saying at the beginning. Your size and your well-known ability, that's not a word, but I'm going to go with it, will affect the methods that you can use to build hype. For example, for Spellbreak, they couldn't do that because for their game, that they haven't got anything that means anything, whereas that is, BioShock fans know what that is. So they know a BioShock game is coming. So it's just it's the different levels of how you're able to do it, and it just shows the different ways you can do it. There's so many interesting ways to build hype, and it's one of my favorite things to see, like, what people are doing to generate their interest, because as we've said, the competition is huge, and it is the innovative and the fun and the interesting things that will rise to the top. If you're just doing your ordinary marketing, your general advertising, it's great, that's effective, it works. I'm not saying it doesn't, because it absolutely does. But you start picking up some real momentum when you think outside the box and you do something different. And the Lighthouse website is so simple and would have cost them probably next to nothing, really, and built a ton of hype just like that. It's really fun to watch.
So, because we overran on the news, we can't keep going all day, but I did want to give you another chance. Are there any other examples you wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
Yes, very quickly, I just want to talk about ARGs, because I love watching the ARGs. I'm not quite there in participating yet and really being able to dive deep into one and participate, but our friends at Hello Games, they did I think we've spoken about it before, they did an ARG for one of their updates.
So just to clarify, before we move on too far this time, ARG, what does that stand for? What does it mean for the folks at home?
That is my mind has gone blank.
It's an alternate reality game.
That's the one. I wanted to say augmented. It's not that. You're going to sound like an idiot if you say that. It's because I've just said ARG so much. It's like KFC. What does that stand for? It's just KFC now. It doesn't stand for anything.
What? I know what KFC stands for.
Wow.
Do you not?
Wow, an intellectual we've got here.
Sorry, so ARGs, they're basically like extensions of the game world, and they're puzzles or things that that players can interact with often multimedia, so across websites, across audio files, across images that are spread across the internet usually.
Yeah, exactly. And what the really, really cool ones actually do start running into real life, and like the No Man's Sky thing there was physical things being sent out. People were tracking things on planes and picking things up from airports, and there's some of the ARGs are really, really intricate. And what was great about the No Man's Sky one is it started out and it was just it was an ARG for ARG players. It wasn't this is a No Man's Sky thing. It's kind of like halfway through the game. It's kind of like, oh, it's intertwining with No Man's Sky now. That's cool and interesting. And then it became obviously apparent that it was a No Man's Sky thing. It wasn't just intertwining. It was for No Man's Sky. So that was really cool. And the one that I was following a little while ago, and I wrote about a couple of times in the Etch Play roundup, was the redacted one for what turned out to be Gotham Knight, the new Arkham game, which I think relatively early on people had the suspicion that that's what it was, but there was also we didn't know what it was. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be maybe another Batman game, and it obviously is a Batman game, but you're not playing as Batman. You're playing as 4 different characters. So they just build intrigue. It again goes back to its community in a different way to Discord, whereas Discord is community in a different way. ARGs is community where you're working together and you're trying to, like for this redacted one, you were trying to figure out codes to unlock extra bits on the website and reveal trailers and new images and stuff. And again, it spreads because people need help to complete it, and that's when it spreads, and that's when the hype builds as more and more people hear about it and get involved. I mean, I found it on Twitter, and that's how I picked it up. I wasn't out looking for it. I stumbled across it on Twitter, and then I started talking about it in our team, and that's probably how our team found out about it, and then it spreads from there. And it's just another interesting way to build hype.
Cool. And if people are interested in finding out more thoughts from you, they can check out the Etch Play blog, etchuk.com/play. Our blog's on there, all our posts, including several written by Ben. And he'll be back next week, hopefully, on the Etch Play weekly live show, as will I, if I've not been removed from my post. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. It's like an hour out of your day, or 45 minutes usually out of your day. And yeah, love our audience, really thankful to have you. Tell your friends if you liked it. Don't forget to follow, and you can turn on notifications in Twitch so it tells you when we're going live, and then you won't miss us any time we go live. I've been Adam Burt, he's been Ben Joy, and earlier today you saw Dan Thomas with the news, and we've been Etch Play. We'll see you next week, same place, same time, 4 PM Twitch. Be there, and we'll see you soon. Bye.